Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Sondra Cosgrove joins us. She's a history professor at the College of Southern Nevada and UNLV. And here for the whole show, an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news in between and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We're delighted to welcome to the program Sondra Cosgrove. And she is a doctor and history professor at College of Southern Nevada and UNLV. Pleasure to have you on the program, ma'am.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let us start out with Vote Nevada. What is it, why is it, and how's it going?
So Vote Nevada is a small nonprofit that I started to do civics education and civic engagement. Because especially down here in Clark County, what I was seeing in the classroom is in my Nevada history courses were a lot of new people who were coming here to be teachers and attorneys and jobs that needed licensing, that they wanted you to understand our law and our Constitution. And then I started working with League of Women Voters, doing voter registration, so I was out in the public realizing with as many people as we have moving in every single year, up to a third of our voters every election cycle, this is their first election that they've done in Nevada. Every state does elections differently. So I get people who come here and they're like, why are there judges on my ballot? They don't understand elections here. So Vote Nevada is a way I can do out in the public what I usually do in the classroom.
And what is the response of people when they start to understand how different Nevada is?
A lot of times it's like, what? You do what?
The deck of cards part, maybe.
Yeah, people look at me and they're like, is that a joke? And I'm like, no, it's Nevada. That's what we do here. But that's the first time people realize maybe they've moved to a couple of different states that are very kind of bland. And then they come here and they ask me, wait, what is this? Gives me an opportunity to talk about our unique history. But then that's when people start to ask questions. And that's what I like, is when people ask me a question, because that tells me kind of where they're at as far as feeling uncomfortable about voting. And I don't want people to not vote because they're feeling uncomfortable.
To me, the more people that vote, the better. That hasn't always been the opinion of people who are on the inside. What is the opinion today?
Most people will say we want educated voters, we want engaged voters, we want people who understand what's going on. But then I would say, so where's the funding for public civics education? When somebody goes to the DMV anywhere in this state and they say, I'm new to the state, changing and getting a new driver's license, we register them to vote now unless they say no. You get a little blue card in the mail. Nothing says, hi, welcome, new voter. Do you have questions? So I started doing that.
And what has been the response?
Mostly people are like, that's a good thing you're doing. You keep doing that, but there's no money behind it.
Well, and the collapse of the news media in so many ways has made it even more difficult for people to get information that is accurate.
Yes.
They're in their own echo chambers, as everybody says, but it's true. And how do we change that?
So one of the things that I do is, like Jessica Hill over at the Las Vegas Review-Journal down here. She was able to do some small articles here and there trying to explain things. So I was uplifting her on social media. I finally just messaged Glenn Cook because I know him.
He's the executive editor of
Yes,
the
and I
Review-Journal.
said, can you give her more prominence? Because people are asking me the questions that you have her covering, but you've got her buried in the middle of the B section. So now you will see her on the front page of the A section. You will have her doing explainers. Good for Glenn, good for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The Nevada Independent is trying to be really focused on the legislature, the Nevada Current. But again, unless you kind of know where to find this TV show that you do, sometimes people just kind of wander around and then give up. And they say, I'm just not going to vote.
And that is the saddest part of all. The other part that bothers me is that people vote at the top of the ticket, but they don't get past the first. And you know, I don't know about you, but I don't know every race in every jurisdiction. So I have a group of people that I call, attorneys that I call to see which judges I should be voting for. People in education, who should I vote for on the school board? We need to get the word out that, you know, we can have these kind of conversations. It used to be we had the family come to the house and we'd sit down and go over the ballots, and I would do my level best in a nonpartisan way to say, okay, if you feel this way, these are the people you might want to vote for. If you feel that way, these are, because I think it's the Tim Russett approach where you don't just give a party line thing, but you let people make up their own minds.
I think part of the problem is it used to be candidates had a lot more leeway in what they said when they were campaigning. And so now it's a lot of just talking points. And I keep kind of urging the candidates, when you're out talking to people, knocking on doors, you're at an event, can I give you like 3 talking points related to civics and elections, where they can go to find out about the school board, find out why we elect judges and what judges do. More and more candidates are starting to do that because they're afraid their voters aren't going to turn out. But I would like to see all that money that gets poured into our campaigns maybe get poured into civics education about why voting down ballot is important. What does the school board do? How is that going to impact you even if you don't have children? That's the beginning of our workforce development. People will say to me, I don't commit crimes. I'm not going to be in front of a judge. And I say, will you ever have a will or a probate or an adoption or a divorce or a traffic ticket? That's all our judges too. So I would like to, I see that pot of money that goes into our elections, and it's a big pot of money anymore. Could we just devote a little bit of that to civics education?
Okay, now you and I both know that's never going to happen.
Oh, we'll see.
Well,
I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying.
And bless you for doing that. Yeah. But I mean, we have this giant business in the United States, which is the election cycles, the never-ending election cycles.
The industry of elections.
Yeah, I mean, we're in February at the legislature, and the first thing that goes on, and I'm not going to get into the details because people can read it for themselves, but you know, it's about the governor's election and or potentially re-election.
Yeah.
So it's already underway, and we're 2 months from the previous election. So the amount of money that's going to go into that is not going to go away. So who funds that? Is it something that the state should be funding? Is it something that the education system should be funding? Who should be funding this?
Good question. So I think it's going to have to be both, because usually when I bring it up, people say, oh yeah, we need to do more civics education in schools. I agree. But like I said before, here in Clark County, when you look at the people who are voting in each election cycle, many of them just moved here as an adult. So doing more civics education in schools is not helping them.
It's too late, yeah.
So we need to have it in the schools, more of that in the schools. But I think the state, through the Secretary of State's office and our elections department, need to provide funding that's dedicated to civics education.
Do young people, because they don't watch local news, they don't read the regular
Are you on
newspaper.
TikTok? They would watch you if you were on TikTok.
We're getting there.
Okay, good.
You know, the problem was initially that most of the stuff that was on TikTok was goofy stuff in 10-second bites, and we don't do that. But we're finding ways to work with that. But we're on a lot of social media.
Good.
But how do we reach young people? And when I say young people up to the age of 30, 35.
Yes.
How do we reach them? Because right now, what they're getting for the most part is a lot of misinformation.
And especially right now. What I usually do, and these are my students, you know, these are a lot of people I go and I do trainings with, right? They wanted to know how to engage with the legislature because they're interested in issues. And so usually I start the conversation about, like, what are the top 3 issues that you're really worried about right now? Affordable child care, the high cost of rent, student debt. There's usually 2 or 3 things that will come up. Food insecurity is a huge thing. And then I say, okay, well, do you know who can help you with that? Do you know who's in charge of those policies? Do you know how to be strategic with your vote to get the best outcomes for what you want? That then gets them interested because now they're seeing a thing they want to know about getting solved. It frustrates me when those, especially under 30, when I see them show up in events and they ask a question about, I'm a college student and I have food insecurity. And then we hear, well, the governor vetoed bills to give K-12 students free school lunches. Because that just happened to one of my students. And I say, okay, well, this is where you need to persevere and say, double back and say, that's not the question that I asked. I realize we have a governor's election coming up, but I am food insecure as a college student. What should I do? So sometimes they just have to learn to be persistent. And I think once they get someone who will work with them, that's when I think they realize government's a thing for them.
One of the things that I found fascinating, especially in this last election cycle, was 2 members of Congress who won their races again by significant numbers, and it's because they communicate all the time. One would be Dina Titus in Las Vegas in CD1, and the other would be Mark Amodei in CD2. And even though Amodei was outspent 5-1 in his race, there was no problem whatsoever because both he and Dina are constantly out there working. Should we be seeing more politicians adopting that as against where you have, no offense, but Jackie Rosen, most people have no idea who she is. The press releases that come out are constant, but they don't get published.
Right.
The communication level on that level is minimal. I mean, Harry Reid used to go to every place in the state and go to every, Rotary Club and make speeches, whether they wanted him or not. That's a reality.
Right. They would introduce him and he would get up and give a speech.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I saw him do that.
And he would crack jokes that nobody got because he had a straight face and a deadpan sense.
And people thought he was kind of funny and a little bit quirky, but that's why they trusted him.
Right. Well, he also got things done. I mean, it's been interesting to have Mark Amodei on our show over the last 3 appearances say how much he misses Harry Reid because he's trying to get lands bills passed. Right. And we don't have the clout that we used to have with him. But the communication from our politicians to the public has just been cut back so much.
Right. And it's odd because we have all this money going into elections, and yet we're sitting here complaining about communication. I never worry about emailing Dina. She's actually my representative in Congress because I know I'm going to run into her.
Right.
Right?
That's my point.
And I even run into Mark when I'm up in Carson City, and he's way out of my district. But that's what I heard when people, the last time he ran, people would say he gets things done. I may not agree with this, but he gets things done. It's the same thing with Dina. If she's listening, clarifying, people are asking her questions and having a conversation with her so that when she does things, people can say, oh, wait a minute, I had that conversation with her. Good job. If people don't feel that, then they start to think you're just a partisan, you're just part of this machine, you're just kind of there for yourself. If you're not in the community, you're going to have a hard time with the younger people especially.
And I don't see that changing because the consultants, they make their money on spending the dollars on advertising, and they are changing the way that we receive the messaging because broadcast television has gotten so expensive It's the main income for TV stations. I think a lot of stations would go bankrupt if it weren't for that, because they've lost so much of the car dealer money.
And that's why they fight against campaign finance reform.
Right, but also what you're seeing now, where 40 years ago it was cable television that started getting advertising, now you're seeing digital advertising, not just for political campaigns, but regular advertisers are now advertising. Right. It's interesting to see that development.
I think the group that's entered the chat, if I'm going to talk the way my students do, are the nonpartisans. And so this growing group, I mean, right now, the Democrats and Republicans, the Secretary of State just put out the voter registration numbers. It's 187 voters between the Democrats and the Republicans, but yet the nonpartisans are still over 33%, and then there's all the minor parties. I think nonpartisans, in some respect, are saying, I just don't like the system. It's not working for me. I got to figure out what I want to do. There was a study that just came out that said especially our nonpartisan voters are ticket splitters. They like to talk to the candidate and vote for the person and the ideas. They might have the clout to say, I'm not going to look at your digital advertising. I want to speak to your candidate. And if not, I'm not going to vote for your candidate. I think one of the reasons our governor right now is Mr. Bipartisan, Mr. Let's get things done, let's get problems solved, is he knows he needs nonpartisan votes to win. He got them last time, he's going to need them again. So apparently his people are looking at the polling and the messaging coming from the nonpartisans, and they want problems solved, and they want you to stop arguing. I think he is ahead of the game, but we'll have to see, is he going to maybe do some grassroots events? Is it just going to be digital? But I'm keeping an eye on him.
I think that the registration is nonpartisan, but I'm not sure the actual person is nonpartisan. I think that they lean one way or the other, but they may be persuadable. But then again, isn't that the case for everybody, that we have become persuadable? We may not say that to pollsters, and I don't even know at this point, my apologies to my friends who are pollsters, I don't know who's talking to pollsters. I get those calls and I just...
We all look at the phone and go, yeah, no.
So who are they talking to?
Right.
So the information is specious as far as I'm concerned. I think that people want government to be responsive.
Yes.
And that they have found that promises made, promises not kept has been how we've ended up with Donald Trump as president, where even though he was not an outsider per se,
He's
initially,
a disruptor.
Well, but he was somebody that people were familiar with from all the years of The Apprentice.
Right.
And I know from being a television person, been on the air for over 40 years, that people have had a relationship with me. They feel that they know me, and they do in lots of different ways. And so they have a certain trust factor or distrust factor of me because of that.
Right.
I think that Donald Trump not being inside politics per se, but having strong political opinions for over 30 years.
Right.
I watched him on a Joan Rivers show from 30 years ago where he was saying all the things he says now back then.
Right.
But he was a celebrity back then, not a politician.
So he was in the tabloids and the entertainment press then.
Right. And doing talk shows and Oprah and The View and all these other things that half of them wouldn't allow him to be on today. But he was not a Republican or Democrat per se. He was offering to fix things, to clean things up, and people bought into that.
Right.
And they were comfortable enough the first time around that with all the bizarreness of the end of the Biden administration, that he became the optimum choice.
But I think...
And by the way, I think it can easily swing.
Yes.
Exactly the opposite direction. In fact, I will say right now, and I'm okay if people quote me on this, that I think we're going to swing back between Republicans and Democrats for the next few cycles.
I agree with you, because there's only two choices. And so when you're looking at the people who are nonpartisan, whenever I talk to them, they just want to have things fixed. They just want people to get things done. They just want problems to be solved. So they're not saying I'm prioritizing a party. They want somebody to prioritize their issues. So they don't care. They're not going to walk up to you and say, hey, are you a Democrat or Republican? They're going to say, hey, what do you think about this issue? High cost of rent, affordable childcare, food. And then they're going to evaluate you depending on what you say. And so I thought it was interesting, this study that just came out of ASU in Arizona, They said our nonpartisans in particular are ticket splitters, so that nonpartisans are just looking for the person that impressed them that would fix their problem. They might, if we had multiple parties, they might vote for somebody else, but there's just no other option, so they're going to have to go Democrat or Republican, probably lean one way or the other. But I think our nonpartisans want somebody to solve problems.
I think everybody wants somebody to solve problems. We have to take a break and make some money. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
It's a good time to eat. It's a good time to play.
It's a good time to win.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Sondra Cosgrove. She is the history professor at College of Southern Nevada and UNLV. Workforce housing. Every industry is trying to make this work. The Teslas, the Panasonics are going to the universities. What are your concerns?
I am most worried that we just don't have enough workers to do what we need to do in this state.
We never have had.
And we've always kind of, because I know at the community college, it's kind of this haphazard trying to get programs set up so that we have enough workers. But especially now that a lot of our construction workers are going to go rebuild LA, that we don't have enough behavioral and mental health providers. There's all these new industries that have come into the state that we don't have housing and workers for. We need a plan. We need a plan that coordinates higher ed with industry, with the governor's office, with the legislature. So we have to have somebody that can do that. 120 days every other year means it's not going to be our legislature.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the governor.
Or it could be, if somebody was really smart, Congress actually passing an immigration reform bill that could actually get things done. But it would have to be very targeted. It cannot be comprehensive, is my opinion. Let's take another break and we'll be right back. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn,
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news, in between, and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers with Dr. Sondra Cosgrove. Ranked choice voting did not pass the ballot. Are you going to go for open primaries, or are you going to try for ranked choice again?
Oh, we're going to do open primaries first, because, I mean, even the other side said that.
Okay. All right, well then that's fair enough. I thank you so much for doing this. It was a wonderful first segment that ran forever. We're out of time. Please come back.
Thank you.
Come back.
Yes.
And we'll
absolutely.
see. You're being Carson City, so we'll see you in Carson
absolutely.
City.
Yes.
All right, very good. And we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We'll see you on the next broadcast.